God declares, "I will never converse with you if you neglect him at this time." A major disaster is on its way to you. I am making every effort to keep you safe from a serious threat. It is critical that you listen to this at this time. Do not dismiss the desire to remain. It is neither random nor insignificant. I'm approaching you directly because it is possible to avoid the obstacles that lie ahead of you if you listen carefully and take this subject seriously. You are closer to a key juncture than you think, and passing up this opportunity could result in a loss that is impossible to recover. I am not here to instill terror in you without justification. I am present because I see what you do not, and am aware of what is on the horizon. Continue to accompany me throughout these times because the information I'm about to reveal has the potential to protect you from an incident that would severely disturb your life. If you are convinced, kindly write Amen. I want to emphasize that the warning being sent at this moment is not a metaphor. It is real and important. A big scenario is emerging which could lead to uncertainty, loss, or pain if you enter it unknowingly. You have grown distracted, resulting in a decreased awareness of the events unfolding beneath the surface of your existence. I've been striving to capture your attention with subtle gestures and emotions, but you've repeatedly ignored them. This is why I'm speaking so passionately right now, since time is running out and your response is more important than ever. Even when everything looks to be in order, there is a reason your heart is racing. That feeling of discomfort does not indicate infirmity. It serves as a signal that something requires your attention. I put that awareness in you to keep you from recklessly entering danger, yet you have questioned it rather than believing in it. The disaster I'm warning you about is not an unanticipated event. Rather, it's the outcome of a series of tiny decisions and ignored warnings. You are at a point where a single decision might either lead you closer to or further away from danger. Please take a moment to show your support by liking this video before proceeding. This simple action will allow this video to reach someone else who may also need protection at this time. It is critical that you understand that I am not detached from your life. I am present in every detail, even the ones you may dismiss as inconsequential. I observe the people around you, the courses you're considering, and the times when you're hesitant. Some of these paths are safe while others have unanticipated consequences. You have been drawn to some individual or object that looks to be in harmony with your values. However, there is a sense of instability beneath the surface. The danger lies in that instability, which, if not dealt with caution, might grow into a much larger entity. You are not being cautioned because you are vulnerable. You are being cautioned because of your choice and safeguarding. I ensure that individuals I care for receive direction, especially when a critical crisis arises. I am aware of your future and the peace and power that await you, which is why I am unable to keep mute. Ignoring this moment would not stop the upcoming occurrences. It would simply destroy your ability to avoid it. Listening to the present moment gives you the ability to move on before it's too late, as well as awareness and strength. To confirm, type yes. You've noticed recurring themes in your life but haven't fully addressed them. These patterns are not coincidence. They act as warning signs that a larger problem needs to be addressed. If they persist, they have the potential to trap you in a situation from which you cannot escape, and that seems overwhelming. I ask that you take your time and explore what you have previously accepted as usual. Not everything that appears innocent is without consequences, and not everything that feels comfortable is safe. You may think you have more time, but this is where many people make a mistake. Time is not always as free as it appears, and moments like this exist to change direction before an irrevocable occurrence occurs. I'm not asking you to grow agitated. I am requesting your awareness and intentionality. Living carelessly and living with instruction are not the same thing, and you are being encouraged to choose the latter. That decision has the power to protect both you and the people in your life. I see your struggles and the burden you endure, and I understand that you may be exhausted from your in-depth consideration of all topics. You crave peace, simplicity, and the capacity to move forward without anxiety. That aim is valid. However, genuine peace is the outcome of alignment rather than avoidance. Ignoring warnings leads to further challenges in the future, regardless of how simple it appears at the time. I am guiding you along a path that will allow you to experience serenity without remorse. However, you must listen and act with discernment. Even if it is difficult or baffling, there is one thing you must separate yourself from. It could be a habit, a person, or a decision that you've been deferring. Consider it, and you are already feeling the discomfort. This is your cue. There is no need to wait for a larger sign. This is the one you asked. By taking action immediately, you can quietly eliminate the threat before it has a full impact on you. I am not here to deprive you of any good. I am here to protect what is actually meant for you. At first, protection may appear to be a loss because it requires being separated from a thing you thought you wanted. However, you will soon realize that it was not meant to be in your life. Placing your trust in me right now will propel you toward a more secure, resilient, and purpose-driven future. It is a series of events that can occur if a person continues to go in the same direction without consciousness. I need you to calm down and listen carefully because the next steps you take will either protect you or expose you. It is vital to know that you are not alone in this circumstance. Nonetheless, you must accept the facts I am now delivering. There is a connection in your life that looks to be substantial, something that brings you comfort or provides an opportunity. On the surface, it appears to be a benefit, which is why it has been difficult for you to call it into question. But I see beyond what is visible, and I am aware that not everything related to it is safe for you. There are certain results that will not bring you calm, such as unsteady foundations or hidden intentions. If you do not exercise discernment, this link has the potential to act as the portal through which the warning I sent to you will materialize. If you believe in God, enter the number 222. It is critical that you begin to monitor your emotional reactions to specific people or situations. The slight distress you're trying to ignore isn't an accident. It is an inherent safety that is built into you. Even in the face of difficulty, taking effective action can bring about clarity and tranquility. However, the presence of disguised risk causes feelings of heaviness, uncertainty, and subtle tension. You've been sensing these warning signs, but you've been convincing yourself to ignore them because you're afraid of losing what you're used to. I implore you to stop ignoring the things your spirit has been trying to impart. The catastrophe I told you about is not always audible from the beginning. It often begins slowly and grows over time. It could start with an inaccurate judgment, an erroneous trust, or a situation in which you choose comfort over reality. Although each stage may appear tiny when put together, they produce a far more substantial effect. You can still take a step back and avert it totally. Furthermore, there is a feature of your behavior that requires your attention. It may not appear to be a serious issue, but it is progressively influencing your trajectory in ways you are not yet aware of. Small actions repeated over time can either build strength or cause weakness. You are currently unable to achieve clarity and discipline due to a recurring pattern. If it continues, you may find yourself unprepared for an event that requires both awareness and fortitude. To receive blessings, dial the number 777. I do not mean to overwhelm you. Rather, I am offering this to you in order to raise your awareness. Your protection is awareness, and if you have a solid understanding, you may make a different choice. Even if it looks that you have already gone too far, you are not trapped in any one path. Every instant provides a new opportunity to change course. Your decisions from now on are more important than your past experiences. Despite the fact that you did not express it openly, you have been seeking help. You've been looking for direction in your solitary thoughts and moments of doubt. This is your response regardless of its severity. I shall refrain from delivering you gentle words when a serious scenario is approaching, as this would be destructive to your well-being. I am telling you the truth because it is the stuff that strengthens and protects you. Something is coming that will put your stability to the test if you stay in your current situation. It has the potential to have an impact on your relationship's peace of mind or something important to you. It is not designed for you to experience that level of disorientation or sorrow. This is why I am intervening now before it is fully formed. This opportunity is provided to you in order to avoid a consequence that many people become aware of after it has already occurred. I require you to withdraw from any scenario that appears to be questionable or pressured. Do not feel obliged to make decisions you are not completely comfortable with, and do not let others pressure you to do so. You are free to pause, reflect, and make an informed decision. Rushing is typically the cause of blunders, especially when emotions are involved. Slowing down will allow you to gain clarity that is impossible to obtain in a hurry. Additionally, it is critical that you reconnect with your inner fortitude. You have relied heavily on external validation or assurance. Although it is totally normal to seek aid, your true direction comes from within as I communicate with you discreetly. As you remain silent, you will see that the solutions are already present. It is sufficient to believe in them rather than holding misgivings. Despite the fact that recent events have made you doubt your own strength, you are stronger than you realize. Strength is not necessarily seen as loud or powerful. Occasionally, it gives the appearance of peaceful endurance. It is similar to choosing the right path of action even when it is difficult. It's like giving up a desire because you know it's bad for you. I am convinced that this level of fortitude will protect you at this period. Do not be afraid to give up goods that do not bring you peace. The initial impression may be of loss, but it is actually one of protection. Retaining a risky item will cause further hardship in the future. The act of letting go now leaves an opening for something more helpful to enter your life. Something that is truly intended for you is stable and secure. I am guiding you toward a more advantageous road. Nevertheless, you must be willing to compromise. It is critical that you are prepared to apply the knowledge offered to you. Passive listening will not affect your course. Your selections will determine what happens next. Additionally, you now have the opportunity to make an informed selection. I am by your side, therefore there is no reason to be concerned. This warning is supposed to be a form of caring, not an indication of abandoning. I am not leaving you to handle this situation on your own. I am concurrently communicating, guiding, and protecting you, but it is critical that you remain alert and responsive to the information being provided. However, a lack of understanding in power leads to errors, which is exactly what I am currently working to prevent. Maintain your concentration, since the actions you do after hearing this information will have a significant impact on the trajectory of your life. You have a habit of postponing actions that you are aware are necessary. You try to tell yourself that you will deal with the problem later, or that it will go away on its own, but the delay has had a negative impact on your circumstances. What is postponed today may become tomorrow's issue. I urge you to stop this behavior immediately, because the circumstance you are currently in cannot be ignored without consequences. Acting with clarity now will save you from regret in the future. To claim miracles, type 1010. In addition, there is one factor of your environment that requires consideration. It could be the setting in which you spend your time or the atmosphere you allow to exist. Your thoughts and decisions can be progressively influenced by an inappropriate atmosphere, and energy is more important than you know. Initially, the change may be subtle, but it gradually changes your perspective and response. Currently, there is an effect in your neighborhood that is detrimental to your safety or development. You've had moments where you questioned your genuine connection to certain places or circumstances. The sense in question was not one of insecurity, but one of attentiveness. You are being directed to visit locations that promote clarity and resilience rather than confusion and uncertainty. Staying in an awkward situation can simply make you feel more uncertain. It may be hard to detach yourself from it, but it will allow you to find stability. Additionally, it is critical that you protect your decisions from other pressures. Even if they are confident that not everyone in your area understands your preferences. Although some of the advice you receive may be well-intended, it may still steer you in the wrong way. It is critical that you have the ability to distinguish between what you accept and what you reject. Confusion will ensue from hearing every voice without discernment. If you believe in heavenly protection, then enter 333. I encourage you to put more trust in your inner knowledge than in outward noise. I communicate most effectively through the silence that exists within you. It maintains a regular and steady presence without screaming or applying pressure. Even if you can't fully express it when something is wrong, it sends you a signal. Ignoring that indication contributed to your arrival at this warning. Additionally, it is critical to evaluate your emotional reactions. When anything produces unexpected tension, pressure, or hurry, it is usually a cue to wait rather than haste. Emotional decisions are rarely consistent with clarity. I want you to create a barrier between your emotions and your actions. That space will allow you to make informed decisions rather than reacting rashly. A moment is soon approaching when you will be forced to make a snap decision. It may appear to be a solution or an opportunity, but it will need action without your full understanding. At that point, you must exercise extreme caution. Not everything that appears urgent is important, and not everything that appears beneficial is safe. Taking a step back at that point will keep you from injuring yourself. This understanding has been taught to you in advance, allowing you to recognize the moment as it arrives. You'll feel at ease as if you've been prepared. That sensation will serve as your indication to relax and rethink. Do not overlook it. It is your protective mechanism in action. If someone responds differently in that instant, the entire outcome will change. I also need you to understand that giving up a thing now may save you from a larger loss later on. It is possible that you are keeping an object because of the time, work, or emotion you have put into it. However, not every investment is intended to last. Walking away is sometimes the best option, no matter how painful it may be. Holding on because of fear or attachment might lead to more serious repercussions. You are not being asked to give up something that is beneficial. You are being led away from an activity that will not benefit you. Please have trust that the purpose for which you are intended will not require you to sacrifice your peace. Clarity, not confusion, will reveal what is genuinely appropriate for you. You will not be forced to expend any effort, nor will you feel insecure. Furthermore, there is one feature of yourself that demands reinforcement. You've been doubting your ability to make the right judgments, which has led to an increased dependency on others. However, you are capable of selecting what is best for you. You have been given the ability to discern reason and make sound decisions. Regaining confidence in oneself is an important part of protecting oneself. I am not addressing you in this manner to generate fear, but rather to cultivate awareness and fortitude. Fear has the potential to paralyze, whilst awareness has the potential to empower. I want you to feel empowered rather than dominated. The information I'm providing is intended to help you move forward with confidence and clarity. You're being prepared, not penalized. A certain form of pressure will be focused at you. It will not appear to be a threat at first glance, which is why it is critical to discover it now. There will be a sense of urgency, as if a decision must be taken quickly or it would be lost. This is where many people make a mistake, confusing urgency with importance. I am now warning you that you must not allow urgency to guide your activities, as this is when the hidden risk manifests itself. If you believe in Jesus, enter 1212. You will start to notice details that you would have otherwise neglected. You will understand the difference between what is right and what appears to be right. That moment of stillness will give you with greater security than any immediate answer. Furthermore, there is a component of trust that requires self-correction. You have been putting your trust in entities who have not yet earned it in full. Not all people who speak confidently are appropriate for you to imitate. You do not have to seize every promising chance that comes your way. You must begin the process of evaluating trust based on consistency, peace, and truth, rather than just its outer appearance. Type 1111 if you are guided by faith. I would like you to pay close attention to how you respond when you are feeling uncertain. You typically try to settle the ambiguity as soon as possible because remaining in that situation is really uncomfortable. However, ambiguity is sometimes unavoidable. Understanding is required from time to time. As you devote time to contemplating it, you will begin to understand its genuine essence. You start to notice minor cues that lead you in the right direction. The disaster I told you about occurs at a time when you may choose to ignore the uncertainty and carry on with your plans. That is the most dangerous moment. Acting without clarity can have an influence on your peace of mind, stability, and sense of direction. However, the outcome can be completely changed by choosing to wait, observe, and comprehend. You are not being asked to suffer fear. You are being asked to preserve consciousness. Fear causes one to freeze or panic, whereas awareness develops a sense of calm and wisdom. I want you to feel at ease despite the gravity of the situation. When you are at peace, you can think clearly and respond with intention. It will be a source of stability during times of uncertainty. Furthermore, anything from your history influences your current decisions. It is that you are clinging to patterns that were previously safe but are no longer useful. These patterns can lead to the repetition of situations that are the same level of difficulty. The first step in breaking them is identifying them. You are not bound to continue along the same route simply because it is comfortable. I invite you to a new level of consciousness in which you move deliberately rather than automatically. In a situation like this, every decision counts. Small decisions can have serious consequences, thus it is critical to be aware of them in order to protect oneself. You are capable of completing this task regardless of how strange or tough it appears. To experience growth, it is often important to embrace a perspective that has not been fully practiced. Furthermore, it is critical that you use additional caution in maintaining your tranquility. You've allowed certain occurrences to upset your inner peace without understanding how much they're affecting you. When you lose your peace, your clarity suffers. This is the point at which confusion might occur, resulting in poor decisions. There is nothing selfish about preserving your tranquility. It's necessary for your health. I'd like you to start choosing the stuff that you allow into your head and environment. Not everything requires your full focus and energy. Exercising discretion when selecting hobbies will improve your focus and awareness. Furthermore, it will help you identify what is truly important. It is critical that you retain a clear and focused mind right now. At some point in the future, your awareness will be directly measured. Even if everything looks to be in order, you will notice that something does not feel right. That sensation acts as a reminder to slow down and reflect. It is critical that you do not ignore it because it is your protection talking with you. Listening to it will help you avoid the danger I've been warning you about. You are preparing for that time in order to respond differently than you have in the past. Instead of hurrying, you will take a moment. Instead of disregarding, you will notice. Instead of reacting, you will make a thoughtful choice. That transformation will have an impact on all aspects of your life. It will take you from a vulnerable to a secure state. I will be by your side, guiding you through this process. You will not be left to address this on your own. Every statement is meant to boost your confidence and awareness. You are now protected as a result of this knowledge. Continue with this, since there is still more information that will help you obtain a thorough knowledge of the problem. You have already received warnings. Nevertheless, you are now receiving explanations so that you can make decisions with confidence. This is not the time to let your guard down and act rashly. This is a critical time to build a sense of stability and purpose. The next steps you take will determine whether you enter the danger or avoid it totally. Your current path of action requires adjustment. You've been moving forward with confidence, but you haven't given much thought to where that route will lead. Hope that is not accompanied by awareness may bring you to places that do not generate the desired results. I want you to merge your hope with clarity so that your actions are led rather than driven merely by desire. This is a strategy for avoiding encountering an entity that appears enticing but has hidden consequences. Enter 555 for clarification. Furthermore, there is a layer of distraction that has obscured your focus. It could be the result of overthinking constant disturbance or being forced to act in numerous directions at once. When your thinking is chaotic, you have a reduced ability to recognize warning indicators. Simply because your attention is divided, you may overlook a vital fact. I'm pushing you to focus on the present situation and the things that genuinely matter. It is unnecessary to fix all concerns at once. However, it is critical to identify those that require your attention. Being occupied and being aligned are two distinct things. Currently, you are being asked to favor alignment over action. This means slowing down, removing unnecessary distractions, and focusing on the immediate environment. Furthermore, there is a reality that you have avoided since it is uncomfortable. You've noticed something's wrong, but you're trying to find excuses to ignore it. Avoiding the truth does not eradicate it. It only postpones its effects. Although confronting it now may be difficult, it will save you from having to go through something even worse in the future. You are capable of facing the reality which will offer you with clarity. Enter 888 to coincide with God's plan. You have been evading the truth which is intimately related to the danger I warned you about. It is not separate from your awareness. Rather, it is intimately linked with it. When you ignore the sentiments that are already deeply embedded in your nature, you bring yourself closer to potentially harmful situations. However, confronting that fact and taking action creates a buffer zone between you and the threat. This is why awareness is so important at this time. Additionally, you must understand the concept of timing. Not all occurrences in your life require quick action. Before going, there are some issues that require courage, observation, and comprehension. Acting prematurely may lead to situations that are not completely established or stable. Waiting allows one to distinguish between what is genuine and what is only fleeting. You have been given the opportunity to halt and analyze the issue that is currently before you. This is not a delay. It is a measure of precaution. By pausing, you give yourself the opportunity to see information that you would otherwise overlook. The specifics are what will help you make the right decision. Waiting should not be viewed as a waste of time. Instead, consider it an opportunity to gain insight. Furthermore, you must exercise extreme vigilance when it comes to your trust. trust should not be granted without a thorough grasp of the person or object in question. It must be based on the values of consistency, honesty, and alignment. Despite your preference for them, there is now an entity or individual who has not fully earned your trust. This is the stage at which caution is advised. Before making a choice, you should perform additional observations. Observe actions rather than just words. Look for trends rather than making empty promises. As a result, you will have a better grasp of whether an item is safe for you. This level of awareness will keep you from getting yourself into circumstances that you may later regret. Furthermore, there is one area of yourself that need improvement at this time: your self-esteem. In certain facets of your life, you have settled for less than you are entitled to. This acceptance has aided your retention in situations that are detrimental to your well-being. When you recognize your worth, you begin to make different decisions. You will no longer accept what appears to be unstable or unpredictable. You will begin to go toward what brings peace and clarity. This shift in self-perception will have an impact on the decisions you make. It will also act as a barrier between you and anything that is harmful to your health. I am aiding you in acquiring that awareness at this time because it is part of your protecting. When you understand your worth, you avoid putting yourself in risky situations. You make careful decisions and act with purpose. This is the approach used to avoid the growing risk. The goal of all of the information I've supplied thus far is to improve your eyesight, stopping you from moving blindly. The future events are not designed to injure you, yet if you neglect the information supplied to you, they will. That is why I am reiterating this lesson in numerous formats to guarantee that it is assimilated rather than simply heard and forgotten. A moment is approaching when you will feel compelled in two different directions. There will be a sense of ease, familiarity, and comfort in one path, but there will also be latent instability. The opposite path may appear to be slower, calmer, and more unsure at first, but it will eventually bring a sense of stability and tranquility. This is the point at which your awareness will be put to the test in a practical and tangible way. It is critical that you avoid selecting the choice that is most comfy. It is critical that you make your decision based on what gives you calm and clarity. To stay vigilant, enter the number 666. You have frequently chosen what is immediately pleasing above what is genuinely correct. This is not owing to your neglect. Rather, you have sought comfort from uncertainty and stress. It is critical that you fight that temptation immediately. Premature relief often conceals unintended consequences which present themselves later. Choosing with patience will keep you from entering a position that could lead to loss or uncertainty. There is one part of your mental condition that requires extra caution. When you are feeling overwhelmed, you are more likely to make decisions that are inconsistent with your well-being. Overwhelm limits your ability to think properly, leaving you vulnerable to extraneous pressures. I would like you to recognize when you are in that state and avoid behaving rather than responding. That stop will restore your clarity and give you the resolve to make sound decisions. To ensure security, enter 444. I'm also showing you that not every emotion is a call to action. Certain feelings are fleeting and fade with enough time. Unnecessary situations might arise by acting on every feeling without understanding its significance. Before making decisions, it is critical to cultivate the ability to stay with and observe one's emotions. This will help you discern between true guidance and transitory reactions. You have followed a consistent habit of responding quickly for a lengthy period of time. It may have been advantageous in certain circumstances, but it must now be modified. The future demands contemplation, attention, and serenity. At this point, it is not advantageous to respond quickly. It is critical that you learn to respond with intention rather than reacting impulsively. You are being guided to a state in which you act with clarity and fortitude rather than impulsivity. This is part of your protection, and it will keep you secure while you traverse the upcoming events. In addition, there is some feature of your surroundings that requires adjustment. You've been allowing influences that don't fully line with your clarity. These influences can materialize in the shape of conversations, surroundings, or even the way you manage your time. They make noise, impairing your ability to discern the subtle advice that lives within you. Reduce the volume of the noise to increase your awareness. It is not necessary to delete all objects at once. Nonetheless, prudence must be exercised. Step away from what generates confusion or stress and choose what provides you peace and clarity. This will create an environment in which your decision-making skills improve and your rationale becomes more clear. Furthermore, it will help you identify the exact moment when your awareness is most needed. Additionally, you must admit a truth about yourself. It looks that you have underestimated your capacity to make sound decisions. As a result, you've grown more dependent on others and lost faith in your own judgment. However, you have been endowed with the ability to distinguish between what is right and evil. Trusting in this skill is part of your protecting. You are not being asked to seek perfection. You are being asked to become cognizant. Awareness does not guarantee that you will never face barriers. Rather, it suggests that you will be able to navigate them with caution. It suggests that you will notice what others may miss. It means that you will refrain from engaging in situations that could have caused harm. The calamity I forewarned you about is not inevitable. It can be avoided by making informed choices, being patient, and keeping watchful. You will be given all of the resources you need to prevent this. The only thing left is for you to be ready to put the information you've learned into action. There will come a point when you will understand everything I have said. The event, feeling, and decision that is offered to you will be clearly apparent. If you keep watchful, the situation will be less puzzling. It will feel as if you've been there before in your head. That recognition will act as a warning to proceed with caution and reconsider your alternatives. I am with you during this entire process. I am not abandoning you to face this problem alone. Despite the complexity of your situation, my advice remains consistent. Your protection is not based on chance, it is intentional. Each word you hear is part of that safeguard. There is a change in your surroundings, and you may either navigate it safely or be caught off guard. This is why your consciousness must remain consistent and not wane in the aftermath of these remarks. What you are receiving is more than just knowledge. It is proactive defense. There is one aspect of your next decisions that will be more important than normal. These judgments are not insignificant and do not come without consequences. They are related with your balance and direction. A seemingly trivial event can lead to something considerably more significant. That is why I encourage you to be exceedingly deliberate in all of your acts. Careless moments allow previously unknown threats to surface. Enter 999 to continue being instructed. Furthermore, you must understand that not all opportunities are intended for employment. Some are tests, not blessings designed to see if you will make a decision based on discernment or instinct. The foundation needed to support you may not be present in what looks to be appealing on the surface. If you enter something without first inspecting it, you may end up in a difficult situation to depart. This is why discernment is your best bet right now. In addition, there is something about your pacing that has to be changed. You've been attempting to move quickly in order to keep up with the activities around you. However, haste is not always a sign of fortitude, and quick actions might lead to problems requiring more reasonable deliberation. Slowing down does not mean you are lagging behind. It suggests that you're making an informed judgment. Intentional movement reduces errors caused by a sense of haste. If you believe God is controlling your actions, please enter 1. 1. I want to make you aware of how easily you can be misled by pressure. Individuals' expectations and even one's own beliefs can all be sources of pressure. When it accumulates, it may cause behaviors that are inconsistent with your well-being. Recognizing and withdrawing from the pressure is one method of self-defense. It is not required to answer to all correspondence promptly. There is also an important lesson to be taught about patience. Patience does not indicate fragility. Before taking action, strength allows you to see clearly. By being patient, you give yourself the opportunity to absorb the world that surrounds you. You see details that would otherwise be hidden. This is especially important given the framework in which I have been preparing you. You have already been presented with numerous indicators that suggest when anything is wrong. The problem is not a lack of direction, but the method in which you addressed it. You've ignored it at times and questioned it at others. I am now suggesting that you believe in your intuition and act on it. This trust will protect you from entering an atmosphere that is inappropriate for you. You permitted the crossing of particular boundaries without addressing them. This has fostered the emergence of conditions that are harmful to your interests. Setting clear limits will protect your peace of mind and course of action. It will also keep you from being persuaded by people in ways that are not in your best interests. You are not being asked to physically remove anyone. Instead, you are being asked to protect your personal space. Not everyone should have equal access to your time and decisions. Selecting who and what you allow into your life is an important part of personal development. It also functions as a protective measure. When your surroundings are uncluttered, you can think more clearly. In addition, there is a part of your attitude that needs to change. You have approached certain circumstances with anxiety or uncertainty. This thinking can make you more likely to make poor decisions. When you behave out of fear, you are more prone to haste or accept less than the best. Instead, I want you to feel calm and confident. You have all of the resources needed to make an informed decision. You've been given awareness, fortitude, and direction. The present criterion is to be ready to implement them. Be confident in your ability to make intelligent decisions regardless of the unexpected conditions. Your faith in your ability to make sound decisions will serve as the foundation for your activities. The time I warned you about is soon approaching, and you will be able to recognize it when it arrives. If you stay watchful, it will not be hidden from you. You'll feel a sense of alertness, as if an internal voice is telling you to calm down. Your protection is communicating with you via that experience. Listening to it will assure your safety. I will not desert you during this treatment. I am assisting you at every stage, even if you are ignorant of it. The fact that you are presently hearing this is part of that instruction. You are being given the opportunity to avoid an event that could have caused difficulties in your life. That is not something to be taken lightly. Your subsequent interaction is significant. It may appear to be a typical talk or a simple decision, but there are several factors to consider. Words will be uttered, options may be provided, and you will feel compelled to respond quickly. At this point, you must retain all of the information supplied to you. You are not to act hastily. Instead, you are to observe, listen, and wait for clarity to develop before acting. To stay informed, type 1313. You have consistently worked to establish a harmonious environment and avoid conflict. Although this has been advantageous in some situations, it has also resulted in your complacency in things that demanded attention. To keep a sense of security in the future moments, you must not ignore any discomfort. Avoiding tension can sometimes lead to deeper concerns, and comfort does not always equal safety. Speaking with clarity and honesty will give you more safety than silence ever could. Furthermore, there is an aspect of your approach to ambiguity that need revision. When ambiguity develops, it is common to disregard or disguise it with rash judgments. However, doubt is frequently an indication that something warrants further investigation. Not always is it essential to leave, but rather to understand. Sitting with the emotion will reveal its hidden meaning. If you choose wisdom, enter 1414. The threat I have been warning you about is linked to a time when doubt will develop and you will be tempted to ignore it. At this point, you must slow down. That is the point at which your awareness should become active. Choosing to wait rather than rush will completely impact the outcome. It will help you distinguish between what is genuine and what is only apparent. Furthermore, there is a component of your expectations that requires your release. You've been holding to a specific outcome, expecting it to unfold in a specific way. This anticipation may lead you to ignore indicators that signal a problem. If you are emotionally invested in a specific outcome, you may dismiss information that contradicts it. By letting go of that attachment, you will be able to see clearly. You don't lose anything by letting go of your expectations. Clarity is being gained by you. Openness allows individuals to recognize what is actually intended for them. You will no longer attempt to force an object to fit into your lifestyle. Instead, you will allow what is proper to happen organically. At this stage, serenity begins to take precedence over pressure. It is also necessary for you to get a greater sense of self. Instead of depending on your own internal feelings, you've sought external affirmation. This has made you more susceptible to the influence of others. Grounding oneself means finding internal steadiness. This means identifying what is comfortable for you without the need for frequent reassurance. You already have that capacity. It has always existed, but you have not put your whole trust in it. Now is the moment to start relying on it. Your inner clarity serves as your shield. It will guide you away from situations that are not right for you and toward ones that are. In addition, there is a component of your energy that requires you to safeguard it. Without realizing the repercussions, you have been devoting an inordinate amount of your attention to certain areas. Your awareness decreases when your energy levels drop. It rewires your mind to attract money like a magnet, as shown scientifically by 4 neuroscience labs. Formerly destitute people can now afford luxury homes, new cars, and exotic vacations. However, this information will not be available for an extended length of time. Click to view the description and comments before they are permanently removed. It is unnecessary for you to be available to all people and situations. One of your talents is your ability to manage your time and attention strategically. It also functions as a protective measure. When you use your energy with intention, you become more focused and alert. That attention will allow you to pinpoint the moment when your awareness is most needed. The moment for which I have been preparing you is almost approaching. If you stay alert, you will not miss it. It will manifest in a manner similar to how you were previously told to identify it. That familiarity serves as your signal to become completely cognizant. This is not a mere coincidence. It serves as confirmation. When that moment arrives, it is critical to observe, make deliberate decisions, and slow down. Don't let emotion, pressure, or expectations impact your decision-making. Allow tranquility and clarity to guide your actions. This is how you get out of the danger that has been growing. This is how you preserve your future. I remain at your side and will continue to assist you throughout this process. You are not left to your own devices to handle this issue. Every phrase you've heard is part of your preparation. You are being given the option to make a prudent decision, avoid a potentially damaging action, and move differently. You have progressively been prepared to face upcoming obstacles with courage and sagacity rather than dread. This notice was not issued arbitrarily. It is a guided intervention that prevents you from entering an environment that is not appropriate for you. The decision you make now will determine whether you enter a state of peace or a crisis that could have been avoided. It is critical that you remain watchful as the upcoming event is extremely subtle. There will be no loud warning flags or clear dangers. It will happen softly, as it usually does. You might even have a sense of familiarity as if you've been there before. That is your indication that this is the moment for which you have prepared. Identifying it will allow you to respond in a way that differs from your previous behavior. If you're ready, please enter 1515. It's vital to remember that not everything that looks to be familiar is safe. Familiarity can be derived from repeating patterns even if they have not been useful. This is your chance to break that cycle. It is critical to approach movement intentionally and consciously rather than instinctively. This is a way for breaking out of cycles that can lead to re-entry into the same type of issue. Furthermore, there is one characteristic of your remark that will be important in this context. It is likely that you may feel compelled to reply quickly, maintain momentum, or prevent discomfort. That impulse requires care. I've been warning you about the dangers of acting without thinking, and you'll find yourself in the same scenario. However, by pausing, taking a deep breath, and observing, you will be able to determine the truth of the situation. To keep the alignment, enter 1616. I am asking that you have faith in the awareness that has been placed upon you. You may not have all of the answers right now, but you will have enough information to evaluate whether anything is correct or incorrect. That sentiment is not arbitrary. It is a method of directing. Ignoring it would be similar to disregarding a warning sign designed to protect you. It will give you with a safe passage through the crisis. Furthermore, it is critical that you be aware that you are not being examined with the purpose of failing. You are being groomed to attain success in a way that will protect your tranquility and future. This moment is not intended to damage you. It exists to display the depth of your awareness and resilience. It is an opportunity to make a different option and move in a more positive direction. You have been given all of the resources you need to get through this situation successfully. Patience, clarity, awareness, and the ability to halt before acting. These are not trivial things. They are potent instruments. Using them will provide a very different consequence. Ignoring them will lead to a potentially avoidable situation. Furthermore, there is an area of your confidence that requires a boost at this moment. You cannot manage this time with self-doubt. Doubt will make you question your emotions and ignore your own self-awareness. To be confident, you don't have to know everything. It means that you are confident in your present knowledge. Currently, you have more knowledge than you realize. You are aware of when something feels right and when it does not. You are aware of the appropriate times to pause and advance. You recognize when an object is in tune with your peacefulness and when it causes tension. Believing that information is the key to managing this situation safely. It is what will keep you from engaging in inappropriate behavior in certain areas of your life. It is also vital that you overcome your fear as you develop. Fear has the capacity to cloud your judgment and lead you to react rather than respond. It is not intended that you navigate this time with terror, but with a calm sense of awareness. When you are calm, you will be able to make sensible decisions and see clearly. It will provide you a sense of steadiness, even in the face of uncertainty. The occasion will pass, but the outcome will remain. That's why your response is so significant. At first, you may not realize how much influence a single decision can have on the events that unfold. Making a right decision at that moment will set us on the path to peace and stability. A thoughtless decision might cause confusion and hardship. You are not alone in this, despite how it may appear. I am with you at every stage, providing direction, support, and a gentle reminder of your existing knowledge. This counsel is not separate from you. It is a part of you. Maintain that awareness as you advance. Do not allow distractions to divert your focus away from the material offered. This is your moment to act clearly and purposefully. This is your opportunity to favor what is right over what is convenient. This is your opportunity to withdraw from the developing danger. There is more to share after this, and I will continue to guide you. However, the ensuing events are determined by your attitude to this moment. You have been warned, appropriately equipped, and prepared to approach the situation with caution. You are now in charge of using them and following the route that leads to serenity and protection. Everything I've placed within you was designed to prepare you for this precise moment. You are not unprepared or unprotected, but your awareness must remain active. This is the point at when your decisions begin to have direct consequences, and your ability to ponder and pause becomes your most important asset. Something seemingly routine is happening in your proximity, but it is not as simple as it appears. Although the situation appears calm from the outside, there are hidden complications that require your attention. These subtleties may be neglected if you go too rapidly, and you may come upon an object that could break your peace. By observing and slowing down, you will be able to clearly see the scenario in front of you. The distinction between being caught off guard and being protected is as follows. To keep vigilant, type 1717. Even if you can't put it all into words, you may be feeling tense or apprehensive. The intention of that emotion is not to perplex you. It provides guidance. The stimulation of your awareness serves as a reminder to be cautious. Disregarding such sentiment is akin to ignoring a creature that is attempting to protect you. Trusting it will lead to a different decision than your prior ones. In this moment, there is another aspect that could influence you how others respond. You may be pressured to consent, advance, or maintain the status quo. However, keep in mind that your responsibility is not to meet expectations. Rather, it is to protect your tranquility and path of action. You are not compelled to follow the pace or decisions of others if they do not match your own. You will remain rooted if you retain a high level of awareness. If you choose protection, enter 1818. I am asking that you entirely focus on the current moment. Do not let your attention wander or be diverted by other thoughts. You must give your full attention to the current issue. Being present allows you to notice minute details, subtle shifts, and feelings that function as signs. These specifics can help you understand the problem. Additionally, you must have conviction that retreating is not a sign of weakness. Dear child, you have been looking for answers in books, voices, and the wisdom of people who seem to have it all figured out. You're hoping that someone would finally say something that will explain why your life has unfolded in this way, why some doors have closed, why certain individuals have departed, and why you've felt so alone in crowded settings. However, nothing quite fits. Nothing quite answers the question behind all your queries, the one you haven't been able to express yet, darling. I have something to show you that I haven't previously shared, not because I was hiding it, but because you weren't ready to accept it. It was vital for you to have this experience. You were required to experience the emotions you did. You were necessary to reach this point, this one-of-a-kind, unrepeatable moment, where you are finally at ease, open, and tired of your own replies in order to hear mine. This isn't a major occurrence. It's not an electric bolt. It is not a big enigma held only for the spiritual elite. It is simple, private, and relaxing. The truth about yourself has always been there. hidden in plain sight, waiting for the moment when you could comprehend it without ignoring it. Dear heart, the knowledge I'm going to offer may appear too kind, compassionate, or innocent to be true. This is because you have been taught that the truth is difficult, that genuine spiritual progress occurs via adversity, and that if something seems like relief, grace, or unconditional love, it is most likely too simple and does not represent a genuine shift. But what if that is a fabrication? What if your intense self-examination, constant trying to improve, hard work, and sense that you are never quite enough have kept you from seeing what is already true? Dear one, you have never been given this knowledge. You aren't an undertaking. You are not a subject that I am now repairing, a subject that has disappointed me, or a subject that needs to be completely rebuilt from the ground up in order to be regarded acceptable. You're finished. Not quite ideal, not yet completely developed, but complete in the same way as a seed is, with all of the required components to become the organism it was created to be. You've been treating yourself as if you're faulty, as if there was a flaw in the design, as if you're the prototype and the ultimate version of yourself that I wanted is waiting for you elsewhere. However, my dear, you are not the error. The intention is yours. All of you, your strengths and shortcomings, the bits you are proud of and the parts you hide, were woven together with intention. I don't make everyone the same. Instead, I create their own selves. It is not recommended that you emulate the person you admire. You are not expected to have their abilities, clarity, or seemingly effortless faith. You are supposed to be yourself, without apologies or comparison, in its entirety. And this arrangement of strength and conflict, light and shade, assurance and uncertainty is not by chance. You have been begging that I change you, modify you, and remove the qualities of you that are excessive, inconvenient, or disorderly. However, cherished, what if those components are not issues that must be resolved? What if they are invites to experience affection without changing your identity? This knowledge has never been made public before, not because it is innovative, but because it was unavailable to you until now. Until you had exhausted yourself in an effort to obtain what was already yours. Until you've spent enough time performing for approval to understand that it never gives serenity. They were ineffectual until you reached the conclusion of your own self-improvement efforts and recognized they couldn't get you to your goal. You cannot transform yourself into someone who is liked. You already are. This is not a theological or theoretical concept that you must accept. However, you currently hold all of your contradictions. I realize how difficult it is to acknowledge this fact. Because if it is true, if you are actually loved exactly as you are, then all the striving, self-criticism, and never-ending goal of perfection was pointless. And this seems like a waste of time, energy, and years. However, my dear, nothing has been squandered. Even the attempt itself conveyed wisdom. It revealed that working harder does not make one more deserved. It revealed that admission is not based on perfection. It showed you that you can exhaust yourself in the search of unconditional approval. These teachings are significant. They took you to this location. You have effectively arrived to the stage when you are no longer interested in seeking to earn love. Instead, you are satisfied to receive it. This information has never been disclosed. Your wounds do not make you ineligible. They do not prove that you are too injured to be employed. They do not prove that you have traveled too far to retrace your ways. These are the places where you've been ripped apart. Life has instilled in you a level of compassion, knowledge, and depth that can only be gained through suffering. You believe that the goal is to overcome your injuries, to mend them to the point where they are imperceptible, to become an individual who is no longer characterized by negative events. However, healing does not imply the erasure of the past. The term used is integrating. It entails allowing the shattered regions to become part of your narrative. Not the complete story, just a bit of it. The section that evoked empathy. The factor that prompted you to acquire compassion for others who are suffering. The segment that revealed that you are stronger than you previously thought. You've been striving to disguise your wounds in order to make them less noticeable. To present a comprehensive image of oneself, therefore obscuring the breadth of one's experience. However, what if your wounds are not concealable? What if they are proof of fights you have survived? Of a strength you were previously unaware you possessed? Of a grace that kept you going when you thought you were about to give up? This information has never been shared, not even with you. Not in a way that you could hold. Your tale, despite its twists, failures, and hardships, is not lesser. It's yours. It is also considered sacred. Your experience has been compared to that of others who seem to have it easier. Whose paths seem to be more straight, whose faith seems to be more simple, whose lives appear undisturbed by the kind of grief you've experienced. You've also thought about the cause of your misfortune. The reason you've been forced to compete for products that appear to be easy for them. Your inquiries are more profound. The cause of your growing concern. My child, being different does not have to be a bad thing. Your trip is not made more difficult because of a mistake on your behalf. Your troubles are not the result of an underlying lack. Your inquiries show no indication of a lack of faith. They indicate an authentic disposition, a heart that is steadfast in its denial. A heart that would rather engage in a physical struggle with me than convey a sense of certainty that it lacks. I prefer your honest skepticism than another person's contrived faith. Honesty, raw, vulnerable, and unpolished honesty, is the bedrock of meaningful partnerships. Not featured in the performance. In the present. This information has never been disclosed. I do not anticipate your coming. You feel there is a spiritually mature version of yourself that is further advanced and free of doubts. That I eagerly await the opportunity to love in its entirety. You are currently undergoing probation. I'm observing you to see if you'll mature and resolve the situation. However, my dearest, I am not procrastinating. I am present now. Present in its fullness to the you that currently exists. Not the version of oneself you will become with more development, healing, and time. Currently, you are in this location. Uncertain. Weary. I am wondering as to whether you are doing this correctly. That is the you that I treasure. Not as a proxy for your true identity. However, as a full individual, you are currently deserving of affection. You do not have to wait till you arrive before being accepted. You have been given admission at this time. At the center. It's a disaster. Under the condition of uncertainty. Furthermore, that acceptance does not imply inactive tolerance. It is not my desire to endure you until you have recovered. This is a joyful experience. Your identity brings you wholehearted, true joy. Not the person you may grow into. Who are you, precious one? This is what has been hidden from you, and it was not done by me. However, the voices told you that love is something you have to earn. Those voices stated that you must first prove your worth. To be regarded acceptable, you must clean up, organize yourself, and create a sense of order. However, this is not how love operates. Not true affection. Not my affection does not predict your readiness. You are met in your current place. It enters the chaos, turmoil, and brokenness, and it stays. You are not necessary to have a complete understanding of the subject. It is not dependent on certainty. It does not retreat when faced with a challenge. It remains invariable, consistent, present. And this persistent, unshakable, and unconditional presence is now being revealed to you, not as information, but as an experience. Are you getting a sense of it? Underneath all the work, under the fear, the voices that tell you you're insufficient are hidden underneath them. There's something solid, something that remains constant despite changes in your circumstances, something that offers assistance when you are unable to do so yourself. I'm the individual in question. I've been present the entire time, not so far away. I do not anticipate your coming. However, this is the exact place, nearer than your own blood. This information has never been disclosed. I do not expect that you understand everything in order to be held. You have been trying to understand the situation, to determine the purpose, goal, and lesson in each obstacle. Believing that if you could just understand the issue and see the bigger picture, the suffering would be easier to bear. But, cherished, what if comprehension is unnecessary? What if you were detained even though you didn't know all of the answers? What if the goal is not to clarify all ambiguities, but rather to believe in my skills even when the data is ambiguous, even in the face of adversity? Despite the fact that the outcome was not as expected, love does not require comprehension. It is useless to have the correct theology, answers, or perspective. You must prepare to be restricted. Additionally, holding does not require your comprehension. Your presence is all that is needed. Therefore, appear as you are, my dear, along with any of your inquiries, with all your uncertainties, with all your tiredness, confusion, and frustration. Arrive without reaction. Arrive without explanations. Come without the expectation of demonstrating that you have learned the lesson. Simply arrive and allow yourself to be surrounded by a love that needs no explanation to be felt. This information has never been disclosed. It's not because it's hidden knowledge. Rather, you weren't willing to put aside your efforts for an extended period of time to get it. You have put in remarkable effort. In an attempt to improve oneself, I am trying to accomplish more. I'm making an effort to become the person you believe I should be. However, I am not interested in a better version of you. I want to see you as you truly are. Someone who gets tired of the act of faking. The person who has completed their performance. The person who is willing to give up their efforts and begin to rest. That is the one for whom I've been waiting. The version that is not perfect. The person who is truthful. And right now, you are present. I am exhausted from the exertion, weary with the delay, prepared to get information that has been consistently correct throughout. You are valued, not for the work you do, not for who you will become. However, consider your current identity, just as you are. This is the truth that has been patiently waiting to be discovered. The reality that frees you does not result from accountability, not derived from development, not from the cruise. However, this is predicated on the belief that one must earn their position. You have an existing residence. You have continuously kept one. Furthermore, it is not dependent on your performance. It's yours since you are mine. So, my dear, you may now sleep. I'm not saying you've done enough. However, you are enough. Just as you are. as you have consistently been, as you always will be. This information has been disclosed, not with much fanfare, not in connection with drama. However, you are loved unconditionally and modestly, forever and without reservations. And that love is not waiting for you to sort out all of the concerns. It's arrived. Currently, I am holding your hand. Amen.